Spotlight on SHMU FM. Keeping it real with Tess.
Well, hi everyone. It's time for Spotlight, and today I have another really exciting opportunity for you. Our new guest is Florence. And Florence, I don't know how to pronounce your surname. Tell us quickly.
Igboayaka.
Igboayaka. So today we have the beautiful Florence Igboayaka, and I have a lovely bio that'll tell you just exactly what you're in for as I speak to her about all that she's been up to over the last while. So Florence is an award-winning social entrepreneur, author, menstrual period hygiene educator, and personal development coach. She has been referred to many as a woman of many talents, and she works across multiple disciplines focused on improving and impacting lives. She is the founder of Fortune's Dynamics Foundation, Treasure Sanitary Products UK, the convener of Unleash Your Potential Vision Board Conference UK, a personal improvement platform. Florence is also author of the recently published books, The Period Comic and Write That Book Already, which is available on Amazon. So Florence, welcome. It's wonderful to have some time with you today.
Thank you, Tess. I'm really excited.
We have so much to talk about, and I literally don't know where to begin. So I think it's always good to sort of get a little bit of background. So tell us how you ended up, or where did it start that got you to writing the period comic?
Okay, sure. Thank you again. Well, the period comic started like an idea, and before then it's kind of tied to my childhood, really. So growing up as a young girl, I was born in Nigeria, and my mom, I was the first girl. I had older brothers, so I was taught about periods, but not in detail, so to speak, not in detail. And I think a lot of parents find it like an awkward topic to have with their girls, to go into the details of it. And that was how it was for me. And so growing up, I wasn't properly educated about periods. So later part of my life, I started working with charities. And one of the charities I started working with, even here in the UK, focuses on working with young girls. Mm-hmm. And I found out that the conversation is still a challenge for a lot of people. So it wasn't just when I was a little girl, it's still a reality today. And of course, the campaign against period poverty, and to my mind, period poverty, yes, is the lack of access to hygienic period products, but it's also lack of proper education and awareness. That is what I see period poverty as. And so I thought to myself, and I started working in the space of periods, looking at sustainable period products, and supporting a charity with sustainable period products. So I was already in that space. Mm-hmm. And the more I had conversations with young girls, I realized that it wasn't something they were giving a lot of detail about. And even in the schools here, you get to one class, they talk about it. And it's not a continuous education, because if you're in P6 and you're talked to about periods, you might not have gotten your period.
No.
And you would have forgotten what was said, to the little details. So I decided to write a book to create more awareness, to help young girls. And I figured it was better to do it in a way that young girls will relate to, because not a lot of people love reading. So I decided to put it in a comic format, which is an illustrated novel, basically. So I have, is it okay if I show you what it looks like?
Absolutely. Yeah, bring it up closer so we can have it.
So this is it.
That's amazing.
So it shows a little girl, what is happening to me, what are the changes in my body from puberty, what does it mean to menstrual hygiene, how you manage yourself, talk about the emotions you go through. So all of that detail was put in this book. And this book is a bestseller, not just because it's making a lot of impact globally, to be honest. Although it was launched officially December 23rd, 2019, is on Amazon, and it's been doing a lot. And I've been invited to go to schools to speak to young girls. And here in Aberdeen, some schools have already gotten the book. And we've been doing a lot of campaign around this, working with other third sector organizations to create more awareness around periods and the education, and kind of eradicate the stigma around period conversations, because this is a natural phenomenon and nobody chooses to have periods. It happens. So why are we ashamed to talk about it? Why aren't we vocal about it? So I started working with all these organizations, and once the lockdown started, end of March, I thought to myself, how do I support the community? Because it was a struggle for a lot of parents when the lockdown started. Struggle in the sense that this is the new normal. They were home with their girls. Some girls were with their caregivers, and period doesn't stop because we're in lockdown.
It definitely doesn't.
So I thought, okay, how then do you make this resource available to more people? So I decided to make it free for free reads on Amazon. Yeah, so I put it to test in April. And at the end of April, we had over 14,300 and something pages read of this book. And the book has been ranking as a bestseller in America since April till date. And then I took it forward in May. I said, let's continue the free reads and give people more opportunities to read, because kids need to be engaged even at this time. And we did that in May as well, and we had almost 15,000 pages read for free. So for me, I thought it was a way to give back to the society. It was a way to continue this conversation. It was a way to help people. And that's not all I've done with Period Comic. To be frank with you, this book has created a lot of openings, aside from the conversations, being able to speak to people. And even on World Menstrual Hygiene Day, which was just last month, BBC in Nigeria reached out and said we needed somebody who has done something about period education. So I had to go on a panel to speak about periods and the stigma around periods. So now I'm actually in the process of setting up a community interest company that is addressing the issue of periods, talking about period education awareness, and having products and services to support people from low-income homes, girls and women who suffer from period poverty.
Yeah.
Because this is a reality, it's happening, and we need to have a way to support people from such backgrounds.
Yeah, and I would imagine, if I think back to even just my childhood, just being a girl, knowing this thing is going to happen to me, and I'm sort of still shy because everything's changing, and then my mom wants to try and have a talk with me about it, but it's like, that's embarrassing in itself. Especially when you get past when you get into double-digit ages. Yeah. Yes. And I noticed with my own daughter, when we got to that stage, it became that thing. Oh, I know what I need to know, Mom. And
exactly.
I think what's so interesting is that kids tend to know the functional stuff. But I think as women, we realize that there's so much more that goes along with that. There's the emotional side as well. And I would imagine the period comic is a lovely method of opening up that conversation and bringing in anything that comes up during that.
Yeah,
so it's not sort of a secret, hidden, embarrassing thing anymore,
Yeah, sure. And to be honest with you, I've had a lot of people walk up to me, reach out to me, and to say thank you for writing this book.
Wow.
It helped us as a conversation starter. I remember when I launched the book, there was a meet and greet at Trinity Center. I had a single father who came to buy the book with his little girl, and he couldn't thank me enough. I didn't know how to talk to my girl about this, but this tool is very helpful, and he was so appreciative of it. So I've seen a lot of people like that, and they're like, this book helps a lot. And this is not something you have to force a girl to read, because the images are attractive. The character design speaks to the girls. And, like the names, the girls, we talk about their strengths. This is confident. The other one is they go get it. One is charitable. So they're like, oh my goodness, I want to be like this character. So it's easier to engage with the book, and they learn.
It's a story.
Yeah, it's a
like
story.
it's their
Yeah.
lives. It's like, yeah, you know what it reminds me of? And I think I said that to you when we first met. It was like the Mandy comics, or the kind of annuals that you would get when you were younger, you know. And I just thought it was lovely. And I've had a look at it because I've met you. We've met before lockdown, thank goodness, you know, and being able to see it's colorful. It's, it's not heaps and heaps of words.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really engaging. So I think hats off to you for having the courage and the focus to actually write a book, because as we start leading towards the second part of this interview today, it's quite interesting what your second book has been about. And let me just brag, because I have a copy. I bet you have a copy there too.
Yes, I do.
Write that book already, you know, which
Yeah.
I think is one of the things that most of us get stuck at. How does one write a book? Now,
Exactly.
there are many types of books out there, I imagine, and this particular set of instructions here is for perhaps a certain type of book. So tell us a little bit about this
Write
book.
that book.
Write that book already.
Well, after I wrote my first book, and people saw the impact it was having, a few people approached me, and like you rightly said, there are people who've had desires to write, but they've never taken action.
Yeah.
Some in one reason or another. So a few people had reached out to me to say, wow, you did this. How did you do it? You know, because my book is an illustrated book, and it took a lot to get it done.
Yeah.
Money-wise, and of course, it was a lot of lessons learned for me, the process itself.
Yeah.
So different people had reached out, and I find that I'll spend an hour or two, and I'm guiding people. This is what to do. This is what not to do. And even whilst the lockdown started, I continued doing this. And then I helped like 2 people publish their books as well. And one day, whilst we were in lockdown, I thought to myself, wait a minute, you can put all of this into a book, all this knowledge, all this experience, and you can help so many more people, you know. And then you can put the pitfalls of your process, what you have learned, what is better, what not to do, and guide people. It's almost like a step-by-step process on how to go from no idea to having an idea, to be able to write in record time, because that's another thing. Some people have been writing forever. To write in record time, publish, and begin to sell. So that was what I decided to do. And then I said, okay, if I was going to do this and advise people that it was possible, then I have to test this method. So I wrote this book under lockdown. I actually wrote it in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So the book says a proven path to write, publish, and sell your first book in 30 days. So this tells you that you can actually write your book in that amount of time. So I didn't just test it with myself. I got my husband, which is weird. Also wrote a book.
Did he really? Wow.
Yeah, he's published as well. He's published his book. So this was evidence that this is possible, you know, and it's also breaking all those mindset blocks that people have around writing. The fear, how do I construct it? Where do I start from? So I felt it to be a very helpful tool. And the other thing I was thinking to myself, I said, and I keep saying it, everyone has a book in them. It could be a bad experience. It could be a good experience you had. I didn't have such a great experience growing up around periods, but I turned that into a book that is having a huge impact today. Yes. So it could be a skill. It could be an expertise that you have that will benefit somebody out there. Why not convert it into a book? You leave a legacy by having a book.
I do think that, you know, if you look back in time, if you go back in history, it's the scribes, it's the people who documented things that happened in history or things that have happened that we've been able to benefit from because somebody took the time to write stuff down. Yeah. And as we move into this digital age, more and more ends up being online. But
exactly.
It's not the same sometimes as having it compiled in a document, in a book form that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And there's so many kinds of books. So
exactly.
I definitely was highly inspired when you sent me a message and said, look what I've done, Tess. And I went, oh my goodness, we've got to talk. Because this, you know, over the years, there's been so many times that a book has kind of knocked on my door in my head, you know, knock, Tess, come on. And I would say that over the last year or so, the last 18 months, a lot of people that have come to me for coaching help have been in the middle of writing books. And I still remember when we met, I said to you, how strange. Why are all these people who are writing books coming to me? You know, but I think sometimes it's that thing, there's messages in your life. You get lots of messages in your life. And maybe I needed to figure out a simple way of trying to figure out what I do and put it in a book. So I have my idea. And now I have my step-by-step method. So I'll just have to mention and say thank you, Florence, for your inspiration, you know.
Thank you.
I think having the book and having a look through, what I do like, and from what I see here, is it is a very easy to use set of instructions. You know, the last thing you want to do is try and write something that is a challenge in itself, and then your instructions are difficult, you know.
Exactly.
So I kind of recommend it. You know?
Thank you. Yeah, a few people since publishing, that was just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of feedback. Somebody who never thought she was going to write a book, so she got it and she was like, the set of instructions helped me. I started writing my book. For me, that was really encouraging to see that people are actually using it and achieving results.
Yeah.
So what then happened was, after I launched it, to be honest, some people reached out and said, yeah, Florence, we know this book will help us achieve results, but guess what? Can you help us? I said, okay. So I thought to myself, I was going to start something I titled the 30-Day Book Writing Challenge.
Right.
So I started that. It's almost a month now. And I got a few people who signed up for it. So the platform is all about taking you through the process, and is more detailed compared to the book, of course. So you have videos, you have instructions, you have guides, you have a plan, because we want to finish this book in 30 days. So we have a plan that you follow through. And to be honest, I've been getting, oh my goodness, there was somebody who sent me a review today. I was almost in tears. She said she's been trying to write a book for 12 years before she got married. And of course, getting married, children, everything, life happens, basically. And somehow she lost confidence in herself and the ability to write. And there was always that fear, like, who's going to read what I want to write, you know? And she never did anything. And she kept saying, okay, I'll get around to it. She joined the challenge. 2 weeks on, her book has gone for editing. She sent me a long message there. She's like, this 30-day challenge, I don't know if it's a fear killer or what you do to us, Florence, but I'm so encouraged to write. I just want to say thank you for doing this, because you just don't get into writing if you're in the challenge. There's a process, because we need to break down those
steps,
negative mindset blocks. We need to break them down, and for you to see the potential in you. For me, it's about self-discovery. What is that thing you want to share with the world? So it's not just about writing a book. It's a book that has impact. And I take you through the process of writing a book, taking your idea into a format that will appeal to your reader avatar, your ideal reader. What would appeal to them? That message, when they see it, it's just like you said, you saw my book and you're like, oh my goodness, this is calling me to action.
It is.
That's what has been happening.
Like, write that book already.
This is calling me to action. So that is the kind of response I've been getting. So I'm so honored, to be honest, I'm so honored to see that people who have come on the challenge. I have, by the end of this month, we started 28th of the challenge, 28th of May. Right. By the 30th, I have 2 people who are launching their books. Next month, I have 3 people out of this challenge. So I'm really excited.
And I think, you know, what I do appreciate from what you're saying here as well is that you have proved by creating this book that it is possible to write a book and get it published and make your first sale within 30 days.
Sure. Yeah.
But you also said to me that it's less sometimes about writing the book and helping somebody get out of their own way to be able to write the book, you know, their blocks or their doubts and everything. So some people might take a bit longer.
Sure,
but that's
definitely.
okay.
That's okay, but you're taking a step.
Yes, but the fact is it is possible to do it in 30 days.
Yeah, but you can decide to do it in 40. That's still okay.
Yeah.
But you've gotten from step one. Like somebody said to me, she said, Florence, yeah, I know we're the 30-day challenge, but I want to write mine in 40 days. I'm okay to get it to the editors and proofreaders by the end of the month, but I want to publish next month. I'm like, that's okay. But the whole idea is to get you thinking that this is possible.
Absolutely.
The whole idea is to see that you have so much potential. You have so much in you that you can share with the world. The whole idea is to make you see that I can leave a legacy. The other part of it is this is a passive source of income. I sit and every month, passive income from my books. I'm not working to do anything about it. So I kind of take people through the process and I show you where you can put your book and you have some passive income. And guess what? People are buying your book from all over the world. Isn't that just great? Rather than you lock up all those ideas, all those greatness you have within you, and you can only reach a limited number of people. But when you have a book out there, you can't predict who is going to help tomorrow. I'm getting feedback from people that I've never met, and they're saying, your book is amazing. Somebody went and reviewed the period comic, because I have the period comic on Google Books. I have it on Comixology, so it's not just on Amazon. Somebody went and reviewed it. I didn't know who they are, but they're a company that reviews comics. So the feeling, I can't explain it. It's just incredible to feel that you're making such impact, you know, with a book.
Yeah, it's amazing. So what I'd like to ask you is there a particular time when somebody would be ready to write, to pick up and write? Do you get to a certain point in your life or a certain stage along the process where you know it's the right time to actually pick up this book and start writing a book?
Well, people are at different stages in their lives. And I believe that wherever you are now, there are people who are looking up to what you've achieved. And this is the problem. Some people feel imposter syndrome. I don't think I'm good enough yet. Let me wait a little more.
Yes.
Let me wait a little bit longer. Probably in 2 years' time, I'll have something to say. That ain't true. Why did I say so? You have come this far. Some people are behind you. They haven't gotten to where you are. And they need your experience to help them to get here. So you need to get over the imposter syndrome thing and know that you are enough. You're good enough. Because like one of the ladies going through the challenge, because there's an exercise we do in the challenge where you discover the topic you want to write on.
Right.
She said to me, I don't think I have anything to share. I said, that's not true. You do. Let's look again. So I wouldn't say there's a perfect time, but what I do know is that writers do get writer's block. And that's one of the things I addressed in my challenge. I also addressed in my book. It is real. It might not happen to everybody. And the reality, I haven't seen it yet. Nobody has creative juices flowing through them 100% of the time. There are times you don't feel like writing. But what we've done with the challenge is we've created a plan. And when you're not feeling that way, when you're not feeling inspired to write, there are other things you can do to support the writing, the whole writing journey.
Oh, I love that. I love that idea. Yeah.
So it helps you because nobody can, I'm not inspired all the time. And the other thing I teach as well is find when the time that works for you. Some people are morning people, others are night people. I love night to mornings. If you ask me to be productive in the afternoon, it's difficult. But when it's late at night, early mornings, I can't be there and I'll be working. So leverage on those times. So it's around planning and seeing what works best for you. So one approach might not work for you, but it might work for somebody else. So these are the things to consider, but never feel you don't have enough to share. And that is why we have so much information out there. So even if you have this much, you can balance it out with somebody else, what they've said, but you must have your perspective. You know, and we all do. We all do. We all. You're an expert at your job. You have all this 7 years experience. What is that? That is something. Start from there. Because if you don't start from where you are and you're waiting for it to be perfect, you never really get to do anything.
Absolutely. And do you find that in what you're seeing happen in the sale of your books, that it's more women buying the book, more men buying the book? Is there a 50-50? Who's leading the way at the moment in the book writing department?
Girl power. Well, to be honest, for the sales on Amazon, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know who is buying. But in terms of people that have reached out to me personally, people who are currently on the 30-day challenge, there are more women.
Okay.
You see that women, I'm not being, but it's the truth.
Know. Yeah.
You're that good. Women are more prone to, they're more, well, some people say because we multitask. It's not just that we multitask. We're
more emotional.
Yeah, we want to improve. We think of our families. We think of how to grow better. We think of how to improve on ourselves. And yeah, I don't know. I love to empower women. I'm sorry, I'm not gender biased, but I really love to empower women.
We will not hold it against you. But I do think there, I think also what we're looking at up here in the Northeast is, there's this whole thing around, men struggling to speak up. Their whole roles, their life, everything seems to be that, you've got to grin and bear it, or, man up and not speak out and all these things. So perhaps for guys who are struggling to speak out, they could start writing out,
My husband wrote. My
find
husband wrote a book.
Find their voice through words first. Because I like what you said earlier, writing a book is a lot about personal discovery. You discover so much about yourself as you start writing something, and you surprise yourself so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Florence, one of the questions I've been asking a lot of the people I'm speaking to at the moment is let's go back in time a bit. Tell us a little story about Florence as a 5 or 6 or 7-year-old. What did you get up to as a little girl, and what was your experience like?
Well, I've always been my mom's little helper. Yeah, because I have 3 older brothers. So I was actually a tomboy, to be honest. I would climb everywhere with the boys.
Sounds like me. Up trees, bicycles, whatever.
See, I'm telling you, I was just getting injuries all over the place. My mom would be like, do you know you're a girl? Do you really be a girl?
Yeah, I know that one. Scratched knees, ankles, toes.
Oh my goodness. And to be honest, I think it was when I got to my teenage years that one of my aunties introduced me I saw her wearing heels, and I'm like, oh, that looks nice. I actually had to start wearing heels to learn to walk like a girl. Because I was just a tomboy. I was, but something though was I always loved to help people.
Yeah.
And I think I got that from my dad. My dad could give everything he had just to help in life. And that has always been with me. I didn't even realize that it was part of me, but I just realized that I could give the last thing I had to somebody else and go without. And I was in boarding school when I went to secondary school. Until recently, one of my friends went to secondary school. She's a medical doctor in the US. She reached out and said, do you remember you used to watch out for me? I'm like, really? I couldn't remember. But I've always found myself wanting to be part of charity work, and which is why I started a charity, helping. So that's always been who I am. So I just find my husband says, you don't do business, you're charity. Just don't even talk about business, because every time I want to do something, I always think about the impact. How would it help benefit somebody? All this kind of stuff. So I guess somehow our childhood plays out in who we are today.
Absolutely. I mean, I love that, because that's what I'm most interested in. I want to see the path, the links from a childhood story to what you're doing now. And I mean, you just tick the boxes there, and I think it is so much today when we are so overwhelmed by all the things we have available to us. We forget that there are clues in our youth
Yeah.
when we weren't so impacted by so many things. What games did we play? What were we doing? Tomboy, tough, adventurer, climbing trees, scratching knees, you know, versus high heels and being a princess, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, and I'm so delighted that you shared that with us, because it's beautiful. It's been really lovely speaking with you this afternoon. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm certainly now under pressure to write my book because I've told everybody
I'm coming
I've got a
up to you.
copy. But you know, it's going to happen, because where is it on my notice board here? I've got write that damn book. So you know, yeah, I just put another word in there. Write that damn book.
Damn good.
Yeah. And I really challenge anybody who's listening today who's suddenly got that urge to finally write that book, to look at the links below in this post, because all the links are there straight to Florence's two websites. And of course, you know, obviously you can just go find it on Amazon as well if you don't want to go through that whole thing. But if anybody is going to write a book, we'd love to hear from you. Even if you haven't started or you've just ordered the book, and just put a post in and say, my book's on the way. We'd love to hear that. So Florence, thanks so much for being so inspirational today. And it is really exciting that people actually have something that they can go to, on both counts, in fact, with the period comic as well, for young girls and mums and dads who are struggling on how to get that message out, to writing a book of their own and helping to make a difference in somebody else's life. So fabulous.
Yeah, for the period comic, you can get it on Amazon, but if you want the first edition, which is a hardback, signed by me and sent over, that has to be ordered from the website. So I would sign it from the author, and it's a hardback.
Fantastic. We'll try and put something like that in, but I would suggest for the period comic to start at the website, make your decisions on how you want to have the book, and then take it from there. So thank you so much. We'll be back again shortly with another interview, but for now, just revel in the fact that words are power. You have a way to write your own words down on paper now. There is no excuse, because Florence is helping us find a way forward. So yeah, get writing. And Florence will, I'm sure, see each other again very soon. But thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And goodbye from Spotlight. And, you know, you'll be able to catch this interview in many places. And please share it with your friends and family and colleagues. Bye for now.